Charles Leclerc has implored fans to respect his privacy and stop milling around his Monaco apartment. The Ferrari Top Gun's Monte Carlo address was allegedly leaked months ago online. But Leclerc says fans continue to gather outside his building and ring the bell, asking for pictures and autographs. The 25-year-old wrote on Instagram that he'll stop for fans whenever he sees them on the streets or at the track, but not at his home. Your support both in person and on social media means the world to me, but there is a boundary that should not be crossed, he said. Red Bull reserve Liam Lawson has staked his claim on a future F1 seat at AlphaTauri. After the New Zealand young gun won on debut in Japanese Super Formula at its Fuji season opener last weekend. Lawson started third on the grid, but managed to pass rival Toshiba Oyu for second on lap 8, following an extended wheel-to-wheel battle that began down the pit straight. The 21-year-old took the lead from his Team Mugen teammate, Tomoki Najiri, following their pit stops on successive laps 22 and 23. Lawson finished third on the road in round 2, held back-to-back at Fuji, but ended up 5th after he was penalized for holding up cars during the safety car to help his team to double-stack their pit stops. Lawson, now second in the standings, was in Australia in early February to pilot Red Bull's 2011 championship-winning F1 car in a demonstration at Mega Circuit Bathurst. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has joined an even more exclusive club than F1, with the charismatic Austrian, who owns a third of the Silver Squad, reported by Forbes to have become a billionaire. Wolff was included as one of 12 newcomers from sport to the World Billionaires list, along with Tiger Woods and LeBron James, with his net worth said to have hit $1 billion. The list is topped by Bernard Arnault and family, who is the chairman and CEO of the luxury empire LVMH at $223.1 billion, followed by Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison, and Bill Gates. Ferrari has requested a right of review over Carlos Sainz's punishment in Melbourne, in the belief the 5-second time penalty and 2 penalty points he received for tapping Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso into a spin at the second red flag restart was too harsh and inconsistent. Sainz was outspoken over team radio following the penalty and asked the squad to let him speak to the stewards before they applied it, but it wasn't to be, and he dropped from 4th to 12th in the aftermath. The stewards, however, deemed the Alpine collision a racing incident and didn't rule at all on the Logan Sargent Nick de Vries crash. What we can expect is at least to have an open discussion with them, and also for the good of the sport to avoid this kind of decision when you have 3 cases on the same corner and not the same decision, said Ferrari team boss Frederic Vasseur. George Russell says that Red Bull is hiding the true pace of its RB19 in an attempt to fly under the FIA's radar and not have the sport take action against its significant advantage. Red Bull has won the opening 3 races at a canter, but shown flashes of astonishing speed, including in Saudi Arabia, where it was, at times, 1.2 seconds faster per lap than the rest of the field. But Russell reckons the squad had at least 0.7 of a second in hand in Australia over its frontline competitors. They're almost embarrassed to show their full potential, because the faster they seem globally, the more the sport is going to try to hold them back somehow, he said. Red Bull team boss Christian Horner, however, didn't seem too pleased with the Mercedes driver's remarks, though countered that there's an element of management in every race. That's very generous of him, he said. He'd know too well from his team about those kinds of advantages. Mercedes says it's quietly satisfied with the progress it's making with the W14, given it nosed ahead of rivals Aston Martin and Ferrari in Australia and edged closer to leader Red Bull. The Silver Arrows had a difficult start to the season, with the W14 lacking performance, which forced a concept rethink from Bahrain, but has been closing the gap with incremental improvements. With George Russell qualifying on the front row of the grid in Australia, Sir Lewis Hamilton third. While in the race, Hamilton scored the squad's first podium for the season. Russell had an engine failure.
We didn't have huge breakthroughs, but we moved forward a little bit. We put a small amount on the leaders, Red Bull, and we're starting to get on terms with and maybe just nose a whisker in front of the Ferraris and the Aston Martin.
Azerbaijan ahead is a rear-limited track like Bahrain, but Mercedes kept tight-lipped on a prediction given the huge development over the break. F1 sprint weekends are set for a shake-up from Azerbaijan onwards, with Saturday set to be a standalone with separate qualifying. FP1 will kick off the action on Friday, followed by qualifying for the Grand Prix as per normal. Saturday will now see qualifying for the sprint, not FP2, setting the grid for the first race of the weekend. Though timings for that second qualifying will be shorter, so drivers will only get one run each in sprint qualifying Q3. It's thought that the Saturday change, which will go before the FIA World Motorsport Council and F1 Commission just days before Azerbaijan, will encourage the drivers to go aggressive in the sprint with no effect on the Grand Prix. For once, I think all the teams were aligned, said Ferrari team boss Frederic Vasseur. It's not very often that is the case, so we have to jump on it. Mark Webber says his advice to his F1 protégé, McLaren's Oscar Piastri, is more encouragement now than session debriefs. Webber, who took on Piastri's management in 2020 following his maiden title in Formula Renault Eurocup, helped the 21-year-old make it to the grid with McLaren, but told the sport's official podcast, F1 Nation, that in Melbourne he was there more for support.
I had a little chat to him on one of the restarts, that's about it, but apart from that, it was just always giving him encouragement to just continue to do his best and soak it up.
Webber, who won 9 Grands Prix across 215 starts, also revealed that hot prospect Piastri is keen to eventually become top Aussie.
He's got big ambitions to try and have a glass of red with me down the line and sort of, I suppose, destroy my trophy cabinet, which I'll be very, very happy if that happens, let me tell you.
F1 legend Sir Jackie Stewart has opened up on his retirement from racing in 1973 following his 3rd World Championship, stating that he was burnt out from a life spent at the limit in and out of the car. Stewart's workload in the early 1970s is legendary, with the Scot crossing the Atlantic 86 times in 1971 for racing and TV work. But Stewart told F1 podcast Beyond the Grid, it all just became too much.
To make proper money, you had to do a lot of races. It wasn't just a question of Formula One. Nobody did only Formula One. So I was doing Can-Am, I was doing Indianapolis, I was doing touring cars, GT cars, everything you can think of on a global basis.
2023 marks 5 decades since Stewart's final crown and retirement, but says while he felt satisfied with his decision, he did get offers for a return to the track that he never considered.
Bernie asked me to come back, but I think he was playing games with me because he offered me $6 million. At that time, that was a lot of money, not comparison to today, but then it was $6 million to come drive just Formula One cars. And I said, look, I'm not going to do it.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.